Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mark. Oh, wow, this is so exciting. Thanks, Vestberry, for putting this on, and so great to see everyone here. There we go. Yeah, we also did a little rebrand too, so we're launching that today. So yeah, I'm Alex Patow. I work at Inflection. And today I'll be talking about what we've kind of learned over the last couple of years of building at Inflection. And hopefully a little bit about kind of what you can take away and try to find product market fit at your fund. So a little background on myself. So I was previously at EQT as part of the Motherbrain team. Joined them when they were transitioning from just working with ventures to also working with growth and private equity. Also helped out with the launch of Motherbrain Labs, which was their kind of data analytics team, specifically looking at like very bespoke questions for deal teams trying to answer, like, okay, I want to know, all of the companies that exist in a certain space. We're really interested in this. What's a roll-up strategy we could do for a portfolio company? That type of stuff. Then I joined Inflection in 2023 as the first and only data person on the team. And just to put things in perspective a little bit, so EQT, 250 billion AUM, super large, global. I think around 2,000 people that work there. The engineering team on Motherbrain was 25 people, and this included researchers and DevOps and MLOps and all of this stuff. Very multi-stage, everything from ventures to real estate, and a very generalist focus. Inflection, on the other hand, we're 50 million AUM. We're only 6 people worldwide, US and Europe, and I'm the only engineer on the team. And we only do pre-seed and seed investing. So like 2 founders and a pitch deck is kind of our sweet spot. And we only look at sovereign computation. So our focus is very niche. And so this is like alternative compute platforms, resiliency, the scale of semiconductors, this type of stuff. So yeah, very research driven. And so so when we first started building out the tech stack, we thought, okay, let's look at what best practices are in the industry. And this is a slide from Andre's DDBC landscape. And what I love is like everyone is just focused on this sourcing and screening box. This seems to be where everyone spends their time. And so that's exactly what we did too. So we spent about 9 months building out this tool that we call Pathfinder. And it's our sourcing and screening tool. At scale, it was looking at about 600 companies, signals per week. These are things like companies coming out of stealth on LinkedIn, or maybe companies being registered on the government registries. Worked with a bunch of data providers to kind of get this signal intelligence. We were looking at 7,500 people signals per week as well. So this would be like founders changing jobs from stealth to founder of so-and-so. Again, pre-seed, so looking very early at this type of stuff. Bought up a bunch of signal data. We built this knowledge graph. Unfortunately, it's quite blurry, but anyways, there's a bunch of little nodes there, all interconnected, and had agents that would kind of comb this knowledge graph, looking for potential investments that we could do. Every week, we'd get a handful of companies that are quite interesting. Handful of people to talk to. We spent about 9 months iterating, like I mentioned. And the fun thing is, like, we were actually talking to a lot of those companies that were coming out of Pathfinder. Unfortunately, though, it didn't really move the needle for us. Growing the haystack didn't help us make better investment decisions. The partners were already inundated with deals. Adding a bunch more to their CRM just really wasn't helping us as a fund, because it wasn't the constraint. And so we started to ask, okay, what kind of insight actually makes us different? So then we started to, we don't want to keep asking what's the best practice in data-driven VC, and instead started asking, what actually makes us at Inflection a bit unique? And how do we want founders and LPs to really perceive us? And what could we build that would really amplify that? So then we started to think more about this, and we realized, okay, our deep value and kind of what we're selling to both founders and LPs is this sovereign computation expertise. So let's build a tool to kind of explore and to share this expertise. And I think like one thing that's very cool about working at a small fund is like you can sit alongside the investment professionals and really figure out kind of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and how do you how can I build tooling to improve this? So yeah, this didn't just come overnight. This actually came from like sitting with the deal teams on new deals and talking to them and figuring out, okay, well, how much research are you actually doing? So yeah, so we launched this research platform called Kepler back in February. And it's kind of like a mix of Perplexity and Notion, but specifically for VC research. And it allows investors to look through topics, structure research notes, collaborate internally, and then publish these insights externally. And yeah, of course, like everything these days, it's got AI agents running in the background, all that fun stuff. Yeah, so this is what the homepage looks like. And if you go to kepler.inflection.xyz, this is what you'll see. We also publish these posts on our Substack. This is what it kind of looks like for the investment team behind the scenes. A little sneak peek here. It's got kind of two main interfaces: the chat interface and the writing interface. So the chat is like very familiar to the team. They've all worked with Claude and ChatGPT. But this one actually is specific for VC research. It has a bunch of tasks that it knows about, and then we'll kind of direct the chat to answer those questions. So it could be anything from like just general market research to look at these founders and evaluate them. Are they people that we would want to back? Actually, one thing that we found that was quite interesting is they were spending a lot of time exploring in ChatGPT or Claude. And then spending a lot of time synthesizing that into a more formal, like long-form post. So we actually built a button that just kind of does that automatically, which saves the investment team a lot of time. And that's what you see on the right here is this writing interface. And so it's very similar to Notion, but it's also got an AI that's running in the background that's picking up on the previous research. We also have the ability to scrape websites and upload documents. So it's kind of behind the scenes picking that up and making suggestions intelligently to how to improve the research document that you're working on. So yeah, so the way that it works is this could be, it's very broad in terms of why people go into Kepler, but it can be any trigger from like a founder meeting to just if a partner listened to a podcast and they're like, okay, what's this thing about underwater nuclear energy? And so then they go into Kepler and they start to explore using either the chat interface or go directly into creating a research note. This will pull in research that they've already done in that space. It'll pull in external sources as well. It adds to the knowledge, the corpus of knowledge over time. And then the team can come in. They can leave comments for each other in the writing interface as well, and say, hey, can you look at this? Does it make sense? So yeah, everyone's kind of adding context to the same research base. And then this really compounds into better team alignment about like what are we researching and why. Stronger investment conviction. I think this was actually a really one of the reasons why we built Kepler is how do we have better conversations with founders on that first meeting rather than, okay, we meet with the founders, we figure out what they're doing, and then by the third meeting we actually get to the questions that are sort of like the pass or invest decision. Like how do we bring that forward? So that's kind of one of the reasons why we built Kepler. And then the last piece is like publishing these insights and how can we build a brand in a particular space that might be attractive to founders to reach out to us. And I think the really cool thing is this is just a really nice flywheel. So the more research that they do into Kepler, the more Kepler can use that existing research. It gets better and better over time. The research gets deeper and the system gets more knowledgeable. So that's a very nice effect of this as well. So we've had a couple. So we've published 3 pieces so far. There's a bunch in the backlog that just need to be published. But we've published 3 pieces, 2 of which have kind of led to conviction building around new deals. So the first one was a piece called Europe's New Defense that Jonathan published. We had already been looking at Nordic air defense. But I think this really solidified our conviction in doing this deal. It was looking at sort of all the big players in European defense and why Nordic air defense might, and so it built conviction as to why Nordic air defense might succeed. Hopefully succeeds. The other one that, so Alex published a piece called Physical AI. And this led us to do deeper searching into intelligent automation, and so that actually led to one of our more recent investments called LevTech. We build these like ride-along scooters that map out factories and then help automate the processes. It's very, very cool. So yeah, we've got a couple proof points already. And to be clear, like Kepler's not finding these companies, but it's helping the investment team once they've either been talking to these companies, build conviction about those deals, or it's helping them explore new opportunity spaces to then find companies to talk to. So yeah, what happened to Pathfinder? We paused it, which is, I think, the nice way of saying we killed it. But we'll see. So basically, like, being a solo engineer on the team, you have to maintain really strong focus. Otherwise, you're going to be pulled in so many different directions, and you'll never get the product market fit with any of the tools that you start to build. So I think it's really important that, that you be really diligent about pausing the things that aren't working and doubling down on the things that continue to show value. But you know, this wasn't wasted time. We learned a lot along the way. So I mean, we started building Pathfinder in 2023 when I first started. Back then, AI agents were very nascent, and so we learned a lot about how to build AI agents, how to get structured outputs working correctly, how to have teams of agents interact with one another. Learned a lot about knowledge graphs. Talked to Tees quite a bit about this, and the struggle of trying to update and keep knowledge graphs up to date with new data coming in and changing data over time. So that was kind of fun. And then I think most importantly, though, we learned what we actually need, and that turned out to be Kepler. So yeah, wasn't wasted, but helped us inform our decision making on kind of what we want to double down on. So yeah, to come back to those questions, what makes our fund unique? And this is this deep sovereign computation expertise. And then how do founders and LPs perceive us? We want to be perceived as a fund that really understands the space and like really gets sovereign computation and our thesis and can resonate with founders. And then what tool would amplify this? And for us, that's been a research platform, and I think it's shown a lot of promise. But moving more into maybe how do you kind of take this into your own fund? So for starting your finding point, I think these questions kind of really helped us. So yeah, I mean, this has been brought up a few times now, but like, what makes your fund truly unique? You know, start with that. But where maybe to get there is like, what actually drove our best 5 investments? And I think for us, like our best 5 investments, came from our research, and so that kind of led to answering that question. And then build a tool that amplifies those strengths. And I think different funds are going to have different answers to this, and I think that's kind of the beauty of what we do with data-driven VC. So for EQT being a multi-stage fund, like it makes total sense for them to spend a lot of time building sourcing automation tools. And because they have so many companies that they need to evaluate, they're very generalist. And so, ranking the companies that they should be talking to makes a lot of sense. If you really maybe have a deep bench of operating partners and you focus a lot on portfolio support, and that's kind of how you're pitching yourselves to LPs and founders and how you get onto cap tables, building something around portfolio ops, I think is super critical. So how do I help portfolio companies with hiring? How do I help them get their next fundraising round? How do I help them find customers? Like that's where I would spend my space if I was working in a fund like that. And then if you're more of like a regional or geo-focused fund, this relationship tools and building your local network, super important. And so, building tools to help you identify, hey, who are the angels in whatever geography I'm at that are doing the best investments? How do I talk to those people? How do I make sure that they know me? How do I, intelligently follow up with these people? I think that's maybe where you should be building. And then, for deep tech, yeah, this is where Inflection fits in. It's the technical expertise because you're making very long-term bets with not a lot of information, and you have to really understand the technology that you're investing, that you're investing in basically. And that's for us where we found that research tools really fit. So yeah, where are we headed? So yeah, using those framework, the questions, we're trying to get to a place where all internal knowledge is at our investors' fingertips. So right now, Kepler, yeah, it's its own platform. We'd really like to have it more integrated into the tools that they're using every day. So we use Signal for our internal chats and email and ChatGPT and Claude are used quite a bit still. You kind of build it, bringing all of that funds information, all the research that we're doing into those types of tools. Another thing that I'd really love to explore is like connected research. So how do we take the research corpus that we've already built and build some cool like UIs on top of that, looking at a higher level for connecting different sources of information. Yeah, still have a lot I need to play around with this quite a bit, but that's kind of the vision that I have, is like how do we better link the research that we've already done. And then, yeah, building some more visible expertise. So making sure that we're continuing to publish more pieces on Kepler, that we're getting out there, that founders are finding us as well. So yeah, I hope these are the key takeaways from my talk. So yeah, start with what makes your fund unique, and then build in that direction. And then, yeah, maybe a big lesson learned here is also, if you're solo, kind of pick one major thing at a time to work on. So yeah, any questions? It's a great question. Yeah, so right now it's just for us, but we'll see. Yeah, we've had some LPs ask as well. But I think we'll probably start with just ourselves and then the portfolio companies and then maybe the LPs. And wait. Sorry. Okay, yeah. There's a question there. Person to person, yeah. Okay. So Pathfinder itself was mostly just for, or that graph was mostly linking people to companies and to education, and then finding sort of, looking at their background to see if they'd be the right person to back. Like, do they have deep knowledge in the space? Have they worked at companies that are also aligned with our thesis? So it wasn't so much relationship building, but you should maybe talk to Tees over here about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Was there any change when you said, okay, we need to continue just with a different thing? So the backing of the partners was still there, or did you need to find harder for it because it costs some money?
Yeah, I mean, it costs a little bit of money. It's not a tremendous amount. So it was mostly about getting focus. And so that's kind of what I pitched to the partners and said, hey, look, we built Pathfinder. I think we just paused it over the summer. So it'd been running in prod for 6 months, I think, at that time, like with the last kind of update. And we realized, yeah, this isn't really helping us get better deal flow. So yeah, the conversation I had with them, I said, hey, look, I would really love to, instead of trying to maintain Pathfinder and update it with different data sources, that was another thing too, is the data vendors also changed, so I would have had to done a lot of updates. Why don't we just double down on Kepler instead? Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. I think you're definitely right about there's about a 6-month shelf life on a lot of these tools, and I think um, we're seeing, I think, that especially in sourcing, the tools are getting much better, and what you can buy off the shelf is getting much better. Um, let's see what happens in the research space. I also, being pragmatic, I'm a solo engineer on the team. So like, if there's something that's off the shelf that's absolutely brilliant, then we probably will pick that up. I think it comes from working with the team and having that connection. So we try to meet up every 6 weeks in person. I also work remote. Everyone works remote at Inflection. So we meet up every 6 weeks and discuss kind of what should we be doing in the future. And I think that's really helpful. Also, like I mentioned before, like working with the deal teams on new deals or working with the portfolio companies on helping them has really informed our roadmap. So I think that's a very important piece as well. Yeah. 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 So I think for us, not the monetary piece of my time, but the sort of the opportunity cost of my time is quite high. So it's, for us, we try to buy as much as we can, and only build the things that are really not available out there on the market, or that's so core to what we're doing that we feel like we need to own everything about that experience. And that's, I think, also why Kepler, we spent a lot of time building that. But I think that's kind of what we have to do as a fund. Otherwise, I'd be spending my time building a CRM system, which is would just take a lot of time and resources and probably be a lot worse than what we can buy off the shelf. So yeah, I would say we try to index more on buying things rather than building things. Anything else?
Is there something about the GP culture at Inflection or EQT, or how you've handled GPs? Because like, it's not always, they're not always software people. Right?
Yeah.
So is there something you do there to make sure that they stay excited or that they're willing to accept failures?
Yeah, this is, I think, something that I am still learning, because I have only had engineering roles, and now I'm in a bit of a position where I have to be both product and engineer, and I don't think I've always gotten this right, even at Inflection. I think the GPs have been very forward-looking at Inflection. I mean, a couple years ago said, hey, we want to, instead of scaling more of the team, let's just hire an engineer to sort of automate a lot of these BS processes. So they're very forward-looking, but I haven't been the best in terms of showing, hey, when you're use Kepler, here's a demo video on when you're approaching it from this perspective, like these are the buttons that you need to press, this is the research you need to upload, here's how to get the most out of it. And that goes for, we have a bunch of other tools too that we've built out. So I think that product piece is something that I'm still really learning and trying to get better at, and that's also, feedback that I've gotten from the GPs. And so not an expert there at all, but trying.
Hi. First of all, thanks for the great talk. My question is twofold. So do you have like a decision matrix where you differentiate between buy or build? And, sorry, if we buy, wouldn't we, in an alpha-seeking industry, return-wise, end up making the same decisions down the road? Like all VCs basically in like 5 years, if we use the same kind of deal flow tools, etc. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Yeah, I don't think we have something so specified. It's more gut feel about kind of what's core to us and what do we want to own. So yeah, it's not so regimented. And then in terms of what we all have the same tooling, I think that's kind of happening a little bit. So then it's about working with the investment team to figure out how do we build something that really is unique for the fund, and it comes from their insights and the conversations with them about what is our reason to exist as a fund, and that's where you really want to build. Oh, I'm running out of time. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And how did it go with business? How did you communicate, for example, with business? How did you direct them into the story?
Yeah, so we sort of got Pathfinder up to like a steady state. So it was running in production. So it wasn't like a stop that, start Kepler. It was mostly like, okay, Pathfinder's up and running. We can let it continue to run weekly and you know, find these companies. And then we built Kepler on the side. And that's also the piece too about, I think I wish we were a bit more diligent about that, but it would probably have been too early to pause Pathfinder at that point. Because then I wouldn't have to be maintaining Pathfinder and also trying to build Kepler. So yeah, and then I think communication-wise there, I mean, we really took the decision in, I think, June of this year. And it was just a frank conversation with the GP saying, hey, look, guys, like I've looked at, we also had data to support this decision too. We looked at how many companies we'd seen with Pathfinder, how many actually ended up in a CRM system, how many did they mark as interesting, and how many did we actually follow up with. And we looked at that data and we said, hey, look, guys, it just seems like you have too much going on already on the deal side of things. So like instead of growing the haystack, why don't we spend more resources, invest more time into research where we're actually seeing product market fit. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone. I'll be around if you have more questions.